Hi everybody, Cash here, welcome back. Today I'm going to do Kamala Harris's handwriting. It's a bit long, which is why I'm doing it as a separate video. And I'll do another normal video in a few days' time. But here it goes. It's very, very interesting. I knew very little about her before this started, and now that I've looked at her handwriting, I feel I know her intimately. And this will give you a really good idea of who she is as a person, as well as a politician. This is someone with a strong, well-rounded personality who's genuine at heart, but with a slight leeriness about how she's perceived by other people. Part of her toolkit for survival in politics has been the perfecting of an act, I suppose you'd call it, packaging herself for public consumption. It matters to her that people see her in a certain way. She's aware that image plays a huge part in gaining trust, and she works at maintaining her public persona. It's not fake, it's simply crafted to be the best it can be. Underneath, she's cautious, prepared, circumspect, honourable, and also a little wary of letting people get too close. She's learned to maintain a safe distance until she's absolutely sure of their motives. She's quite skilled in that respect, actually. Very strategic, constantly guarding her flanks and weighing up the pros and cons of how things are going, then adjusting her course accordingly. She'd be stubborn when she believes she's right, and is willing to speak out even if it's not her turn. I just don't think she can hold it in, especially when a wrong needs righting. And that's the lawyer in her. A wrong needs righting, I must say my piece. I must have my say. She's fiscally responsible with her own affairs, so I'd expect her to be the same with public money. She's intelligent, committed to her job, plugged into what's happening, constantly looking ahead and planning and taking stock of what's coming up and the various ways it might impact her own position. She's incredibly supportive of those whose side she's on. The type of woman who's likely to pull you aside, draw you in close and say, "Hey, it's going to be fine. Come on, you can make it work." Her standards and raised expectations have the power to lift yours. Just don't try to fool her or bamboozle her or throw her off balance with irrelevances. She needs you to stick to the point and would be impatient with those who lie to her or who test her credulity. "Oh, come on, you know that's not true." That's her approach. It's like she has X-ray vision. She can see what's right, she knows the facts, so, quit with the BS, pal, okay? The sample I did was done in 2017. The date's important because at that point she was feeling like her talents were being underused, like she was flagging or her spirit was going unnourished. She has that self-analytical style that has her asking questions about what she's doing and why, where she's going, what could she do better, and so on. Something about her is pretty independent when it comes to how she thinks and behaves. She is unafraid to step forward out of the line and be accountable, or to point out what needs doing and to lead the effort to do it. That's a real talent, a real skill. She's tremendously aware of the past and mistakes made along the way, so injustices of the past will factor into her outlook today. She's like, "Sure, I'm over it. But you know what? It still rankles. If only I had a time machine." Whatever this pull is, whether it's her own personal history or a cultural thing, it's an itch she can't scratch and which never goes away. Whatever her background is, there's a part of it that not only shaped her outlook as a young woman, but continues to be a strong reference point that she can fall back on as a reservoir of information, learning, or wisdom. It may even be faith-based. But in any case, she has a solid foundation of values and protocols which has come in handy over the years, especially during tough times. She's one of those people whose joy for life has been blunted on several occasions, possibly quite severely. There were times when her spirit was tested and her confidence in her fellow humans seriously challenged. But the result seems to be positive, if only because she's now tougher than ever, resilient, determined, and feisty. And it's helped her appreciate what others are going through as well. Hence the urge to act, support, and lift up. You can depend on me. I can handle this. I will take this on board and somehow make it work. There's a hint, just a hint, of wanting to be seen to have triumphed. Could be a mini sort of told you so element creeping in there. But if in the process the job gets done, then it's hard to begrudge her that small weakness. Her judgment is fairly sound, I'd say. And because it is, she could overreact to those who try to tear her down. Her hackles rise and her blood boils as she leaps to her own defense. Again, it's about injustice. When she feels there's something unjust about an attack or a criticism, it makes her want to retaliate. But here's the thing. I don't see her as an angry person, deep down. It's almost like she would prefer to turn away from confrontation or save her ammunition for later. That said, her quest for vindication may be deceptive. While she appears to be turning the other cheek, she not only refuses to forget the original transgression, but could be working in her spare time to even the score. Somehow, in some way, behind the scenes, it will happen. It's all down to that part of her makeup that says she needs to be validated as having been right or made a sound call. And she will turn over all stones and open all doors to prove her point. At its core, it's because she herself is trying to maintain quality control in terms of her own behaviour and wants to see it mirrored in others. Maybe this derives from her background as well, and a time when someone sat her on their knee and said, "Don't let anyone trample over you, child. You're more powerful than all of them, you'll see." That's the serious stuff anyway. But she's got a good sense of humour, perhaps even a wicked sense of humour. She's an open book in terms of her life, as much as anyone is. What's private is private, and she knows what to hold back and what to protect and so on. But she's learned to keep her wilder emotions in check. Remain steady. Hold it in. Beyond that, this is an optimist with a real zest for living, but also something else. Something special, an X factor. You know that thing that Mary Tyler Moore does at the beginning of her show? When she stands in the street and throws a hat in the air? There's an element of Kamala Harris in that. That is Kamala Harris. But all that aside, do not underestimate what a powerful human being this is. Don't mistake sensitivity for weakness. Openness and a readiness to listen for hapless vulnerability. Or her willingness to compromise for the sake of the greater good for an Achilles heel. She's blessed with integrity, a strong sense of identity, a lust for life, and a sixth sense for knowing when to stand still and when to push ahead. Some of what you see is for show. Hey, look at me, I'm going places attitude. But behind that, she's rock solid. A sensible grown-up, an individual, a team player, a thinker, a doer, and a champion. Her humility is real. Because of this, she can inspire others, entice them into having greater faith in themselves, and be the connective tissue in situations that require the participation of someone who is involved at a humane level, while simultaneously being able to stand above a crisis at a spiritual level and say, "Okay, people, here's what you're going to do. And I know you can do it because I believe in you. I believe in us. We've been beaten down, in some instances many times. But hey, don't lose heart. Today's a new day and we can rise again." That is Kamala Harris. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.